Hey folks, Dumont the Artist coming at you from my hidden bunker deep within the bowels of the city. And I came across a couple of articles that we're going to respond to, obviously. One is by a website called the Christian Newswire, um, addressing with an article entitled um, Atheist Gestapo Putting an End to Christian Activity in Sports. Um, I'm just going to read a little bit and then I'm going to add my commentary as I go along. Atheists are trying to eliminate the free speech of Christian athletes and coaches. Four Winds, a sports ministry that stands up for Christian athletes and coaches, believes university and school sports are are a target for atheists as they use the popularity of sports to get their message out as campus leaders at the targeted schools are silent. Excuse me. The secular school system is a puppet of atheists even though they claim to be neutral, says Four Winds President Steve McConkey. Christian free speech is being attacked as most educators are trained at universities to have put God on the shelf and have accepted many different forms of Marxism without God. However, many Christian teachers have not bought into this system. What does that even mean? How can an all-powerful, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient being be put on a shelf by anybody? If your deity is supposedly all of that and a bag of chips, it would be pretty hard to put him on a shelf, especially since he provides so much proof and evidence of his existence. And let's assume that even for a minute that your statement about teachers having embraced Marxism is accurate. Do you have any idea what Marxism actually is? Anyway, let's move right along. Bremerton High School, Seattle, is on the verge of firing football coach Joe Kennedy for praying at midfield after games with students joining him. He has done this since 2008. Yes, true, but he's not fired, he's suspended. And that's after he was told not to make a spectacle of his religious beliefs on the football field. You see, it's one thing if he said, thank God that we won the game, but instead what he tries to do is that he tries to insert his religious beliefs and his ideology into the football game so that people can be, made to feel uncomfortable, so that people are basically forced to watch him and his students pray and do whatever. And my question is, well, what, does he have to pray in public? Can't God hear him in his church or maybe his office? God has to hear him right then and there at a football game. What, does God get angry if you don't give him credit for every touchdown pass or successful play executed? Does he smite you with lightning or something? In August, the Freedom from Religion Atheists in Madison, Wisconsin sent warnings to top university opposing volunteer Christian activities on their teams. They are setting up potential lawsuits. Actually, that's not necessarily true. What they're saying is that seeing that this is a secular school, if you're going to allow one religious group to have a religious exercise and demonstration of their faith, then you kind of have to allow it for all of them. That includes the Wiccans, the Satanists, the Buddhists, the Hindus, the Muslims, and so far, every single time a group outside of Christianity has attempted to do something along those lines, Christians got upset. So apparently, it's an issue of freedom of religion and from religion, but Christians only want freedom of religion for themselves. Moving right along. During last spring's March Madness, Freedom from Religion reprimanded top university basketball teams. In Seattle, some students and teachers cooperated with Satanists in public protest at football game where Coach Kennedy prayed. Yeah, actually, they were asking for a same, they were asking to have the same rights and privileges that Joe Kennedy has as a coach, making a religious display of affection during the football game. That's all it was. It was equal access. There was no, again, we're talking about Satanists here. There was no necessarily nefarious motives here. It's just one religious group asking for the same rights and privileges that Christians enjoy. What can I tell you? There is a new phase in the fight for Christian free speech. In a country that is 74% Christian, and a country that celebrates all the major Christian religious holidays and the Jewish ones? Really? You guys have to fight for free speech? When you have control over the amount of speech that goes on, where in some states you can't drive a mile without seeing a religious billboard? Obviously, there is a spiritual battle over our young adults. Once you oppose Christians on campus, anything becomes acceptable. Asking Christians to play by the same rules as everybody else is opposing them? Okay. Starting in 2003, McConkie protested the International Olympic Committee for allowing transgenders to compete. During the last few years, he has taken on the International Olympic Committee, U.S. Olympic Committee, and the NCAA for the LGBT policies. So that's basically where McConkie stands as far as any other form of freedom of expression. As long as it's Christians getting a majority of the freedom of expression, he doesn't care. But once other groups get freedom of expression, then he gets upset. As far as the situation in Seattle goes, where the coach has to make a public spectacle of himself praying in the middle of the football field, I'm reminded constantly of something that Jesus said in Matthew, where he says, when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites who love to make a spectacle of themselves in order to be seen by men. I tell you the truth, they have their reward in full. If you're praying in the middle of a football field so that people can see you, guess what? You're not necessarily contributing. You're contributing to the spectacle. You're contributing to the showmanship. But quite frankly, according to Jesus, you're just doing it for the attention. You're not doing him any favors. Why not take that same energy and say, you know what? Let's collect some food for the homeless. Every time I make a touchdown, I'm donating XYZ amount of money to homeless organizations or to medical research or to help starving children in Africa. How about that? Instead of going like, oh, well, I'm going to kneel down and pray. What does that do? Nothing. It just makes everybody else look at you and think, oh, he cares about the kids. No, you don't. Because if you really cared about the kids, you wouldn't be forcing them to do something that you yourself probably don't do at home. This is Dumak the Artist signing off. Sanchini Falcha. Have a nice day.